So we wanted to focus our conversation on social media. We've been trying to kind of work through our conversations just topically. And I think that given everything that's been going on in our world, high level, actually, people's voice as a brand has been very challenged, right? Do we speak out on racial issues? Do we stay silent? Do we stay neutral? When it comes to politics, how do we play a role with our voice and our brand in the political scene? Do we speak? Don't we speak? With everything even going on with the pandemic, how do we represent our brand online, digitally, and who we are with our firms and internally with our culture, in a way that respects like our values as a firm. And so I thought it'd be interesting to talk about social media today. And I think both from a philosophical perspective, we've had, discussions about online reviews, which is definitely a component of social media, and clients getting negative reviews. I just did the Missouri Bar Solo Small Firm yesterday, talking about online reviews. And ignore the elephant, because when you get a bad one, you want to make sure you're prepared for it. And it just seems to be popping up, and more Facebook reviews are becoming more and more common, in addition to, Google reviews, obviously. But so I thought this would be a good topic for us to talk about, like what you all are doing on social media, if anything. What challenges are you having? What successes are you experiencing? Or what concerns do you have, or questions or uncertainties do you have? I want us to really focus on a discussion like we always do, right? I want this to be collaborative, to hear what you all are doing. But then, thankfully we have our social media expert on the line as well, with Sarah Johnson. And so she put together some tips and tricks and just things to share with you all at the end. And we can send it out to everyone as well, that I think would be helpful. She knows social media. I think it's so interesting that social media strategy, people don't realize that there's actually a strategy behind social media, right? It's not just, put a bunch of shit out there and expect something to happen, right? But that's what we think sometimes is, we just need to do a bunch of posts. You need to start posting, but we don't even know why. It just feels like a check the box experience. And so if you're going to spend the time putting content out there, representing your firm and who you are, I'm going to say digitally, it's not just social media, it's also digitally. You might as well make it count for something, right? I mean, if you're going to spend your time creating posts or try to engage in conversation, you might as well just make it worth it and get the results that you're expecting. So with that said, would anyone like to jump in and share, like, even if you would say at our firm, we don't do social media at all,
is there a way that we can do a poll, Jamie? I'd like for people to answer which platforms they are on professionally. So if you're not running your firm's account, if you know that they have an account, but for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And then I guess we can put an other category if there's any adventurous folks out there.
I wish you would have thought that in advance. I don't think I don't have the polling feature enabled. I don't think
okay. That's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. You guys jump in. Tell us, is your organization using social media, not using social media? Let's start there.
I can just start with, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say I can start. I'm outside and I have a halo.
Lovely. I'm jealous.
So anyway, I just started, I work on a 12-month year in a group with 3 other lawyers. 2 of them are solos and one of them's in a small firm, and they may become a solo. And they have convinced me, I've had a LinkedIn page, personal LinkedIn page, for quite some time. I don't do anything with it other than I watch it to see when someone changes jobs and things like that. Because I try to reach out to them, particularly if they're, going to someplace that I might be able to help them. The other, I have a Facebook page, and actually I have 2 Facebook pages. One was for my high school buddies, and the other was professional. And somewhere along the line, my worlds collided. But So now I have people on both of them,
Yeah.
And my high school friends, I grew up in West Virginia, so it's not necessarily the image I want to I want to put out there. But at any rate, I have a Crawford IP law for both of them now, and my friends at the 12-week year convinced me that I should consider putting stuff out there. For a long time, I was going to do different types of things, but then 3 months ago or so, I started putting out on Wednesdays some patent that issued on that date sometime in the past, and in historical. They're usually famous people, and so I'll do a little history on the people. And I've gotten some response. I don't know that I mean, it's the subject matter I find interesting. I spend maybe a couple hours putting it together. I have gotten, some people saying, "Hey, this is great." Not too many, but it's a start. So, and probably the writings are probably too long for Facebook. I've thought about putting them on LinkedIn, but they're probably not a great subject for LinkedIn.
What's the ultimate goal of those types of posts? Do you want people to engage with you or be attracted to something that you have in there?
Just to, like a lot of the people that are, I'm friends with on Facebook had no idea what kind of law I practiced. So, you're a patent lawyer,
Awareness.
Yeah. But, ultimately, I just want people to, when they think about doing something in the IP world, think of me, and putting it out there once a week certainly, puts it somewhere in their mind if they see it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if we want to do everyone, but I just wanted to give some quick feedback to David. I've been seeing more and more Facebook posts that kind of look like blog posts where you have to click down and see more. Yeah. And I think those do great if that's where your people are at. But one thing that we've found with some blogs that we've been writing where it's a little bit, heavier content that you want to link back to your website, posting them as articles on LinkedIn is actually a great way to reach people, depending on if that's where your network is. If you don't have as robust of a network there and they're more on Facebook, probably makes sense to post on both. I always recommend cross posting. But LinkedIn articles are actually, or at least those posts that you can write kind of as blogs on your own thing, do get a lot of play. And we'll bring up some of Jamie's as examples later. But, I think it doesn't hurt to have all the content of the blog in the post. You could have like a little clap of it and link it back to your website. But that type of content is really great where it's long and meaningful.
Does that make sense? So Dave, like you can create an article on LinkedIn and then you can share the article. So then your post itself is shorter, but
yeah.
Okay.
And we can even show, we'll make sure in the resources to link to like the different ways that you can post like a blog. Like you can post it long on Facebook. You can post it to your website and link to it on Facebook. You can post it on LinkedIn and, but that's great. I've been seeing a lot more blog form Facebook posts in the last year, and those don't seem to be, I've seen even Brown and Crouppen do some of those, and those seem to be getting a lot of good engagement on them. So,
yeah, I think, the one lady is a personal injury lawyer, and so I think that Facebook is her, probably her target audience, but yeah, I'm not sure for what I do that it is the target audience. So, it's sort of a less professional platform.
Oh, Kim, you're muted. You were asking something. Maybe she wasn't asking us anything.
Anybody else want to share what you're doing on social media? Or if you're not doing anything?
I was going to say our firm doesn't do anything on social media. We have a LinkedIn page, and that's about the extent of it, a firm-wide LinkedIn page. Each individual attorney also has a LinkedIn page, but we're a 16 attorney firm in Central Illinois, and it's surprising that we don't have more of a digital presence.
And Joe, can you tell me what type of law your firm primarily does?
We do primarily medical malpractice defense, and then
Okay.
we also have a transactional team as well.
Okay. Well, you did the first step by having a LinkedIn business page. A lot of people still don't have those, so that's great. Yeah, there's a lot of, and there's things I'll get into with LinkedIn business page later too, once everyone else shares about more ways that you can use that and kind of make it a website.
Yes. Hi, it's Erica. I have been researching different ways to do my banner on my LinkedIn page, but after hearing the conversation today, I can see I do need to go and create the social media for the firm. We just have a small family law firm, and we're doing some estate planning as well here in Texas. But I do need to create the social media for the firm, and then I can hand controls of that to someone else for the daily or the weekly upkeep of it.
Mm-hmm.
I have my own social media as Attorney Eric Giles, which I've been building just kind of throughout the years, but I do need to do that for the company in and of itself, because I have not done that yet.
Yeah, and Erica, that's a really great thing to point out. That's a trend I've also noticed with attorneys. You know, you may be at 3 different law firms over a 10-year period, or you may have rebranded your law firm several times. And so one thing that a lot of our clients do have is personal attorney profile pages. So, you know, for example, like if Jamie Hall was a part of, like if Legal Back Office was a law firm, Jamie Hall attorney would have her own page, Legal Back Office would have its own page, and Sarah Johnson attorney would also have her own page. And that way you're building up your following across whatever firms that you've been to. And you're keeping that audience in front of you as you transition to a different firm. And what we've done with a lot of those clients that have their professional page and then a firm page, we cross-post things there. So Erica, a lot of the content that you're putting on your personal professional page, I'm sure can apply and just be reposted on the firm's page as well. And that's a great way to just maximize your audience, because not everyone that follows you, Erica, might be following the law firm and vice versa.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for the ideas.
One of the things that I did on my Instagram page, a personal Instagram page, is a number of years ago. So let me back up a second. There's 102 counties in the state of Illinois. And I've been fortunate enough over the years to have traveled to probably 60 plus of those counties and go into the various courthouses. Each county has something very unique. And so I started taking pictures on Instagram and posting those for the various counties.
Oh.
And it's random stuff like one county, it was an eagle on a door, an elevator door, just something that you walk by just very typically kind of.
Yeah.
I found that I was looking at the world differently when I was looking at it through an Instagram photo that I could capture. It was kind of interesting.
That's really neat. My dad, he's passed away, but he loved all of our old courthouses. And now that I think about it, I could have been taking pictures of them throughout the years. We have like 250 or 260 counties or something like that. And I definitely haven't been through 60% of those. But yeah, you're right. The uniqueness of those courthouses, to be able to capture pictures of them. And then also we can utilize them in social media, post them up. And it really would make just interesting to have on our walls as we visit them.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a great idea. Sorry to interrupt, Jamie.
No, you're good. No, what that does is it's engaging your audience, your potential customers, your current customers, the community, right? It's engaging them in a context that really matters to them, that's not necessarily connected to a need that they have with your firm. You're being a real person. You're putting your brand out there as being, we are people that are in this community or have been to this community, and we've recognized something unique about your community, and we're connecting with you in that way. And people like that. That's what we're talking about. If you're going to be putting content out there, if you're going to be doing posts, make them matter. People don't want to just read over and over again, a lot of technical jargon or, and certainly there's a place for content and blogs and articles that talk about the work that we do, right? Or things that are going on within the industry. But it's really those more personal things or unique things that really do engage and capture people. So I think that's cool that you were doing that, Joe. And I think that's a great idea for everyone else too, as you're thinking through, what posts might be helpful for you to engage people with. Anybody else want to chime in?
So I don't know if I can start with a couple of questions that I have for folks or just exercises, but so one thing that we'll come back to and is a common theme, I think a lot of people, when they think of getting on social media, there's one of two things with their firms. There's two different kind of mindsets. There's one of, okay, we got to be on there. Someone just needs to post. We just need to get stuff out there. Like, let's just assign it to whoever has, let's assign it to our admin. Let's assign it to whatever summer intern we have in or whatever. Let's just, we need to get it done. There just needs to be something up there. So there's that where you acknowledge that you need to be on somewhere, but there's not a real strategy behind it, or there's not a key person that's been designated in that role. Then there's the other side. So there's two spectrums, but there's always somewhere in the middle where there's someone who has a really, an idea of the voice of the brand, usually the CEO, firm owner. They really want to be in control of that. They want to be in control of the voice, and they want everything that's going out there to be very, perfect, detailed, on brand. And that person can sometimes be the stopping point, because if they're also running your firm, I don't think posting on Facebook or Instagram or something is going to be on the top of their priority list at the beginning of the day, unless they have a very slow day. So there's two, different extremes that we sometimes find, where there's, someone that's being the keeper of the keys and they need everything to be perfect to go out. And then there's someone who just needs something to go out. Well, there's a bit of a middle ground. We found that the best, social media strategies are usually when you do have someone who has a clear brand voice, who's helping guide the social media. So the CEO, a marketing person, et cetera. And then someone who also understands social media. So that doesn't have to be the same person that understands your brand voice. Jamie, for example, is great at so many things. And she's actually pretty great at social media. But I probably would not put her in charge of running our Instagram account. She doesn't understand how to cross-post that to Facebook in a seamless way, and which hashtags to use for Instagram and how to tag on Instagram via Facebook. You want to make sure you have someone that understands social media and how it works in that role that's day-to-day posting. However, don't let that hold you back if you don't have that person on your team, because it's better to have something out there that is imperfect than nothing out there at all. That's the thing that you need to remember. If you wait for a piece of content to be perfect, it's likely not going to be relevant by the time you get it out there. There's a big, with some clients, they wanted to write letters about George Floyd. Well, a lot of them didn't get that approved and out there until mid-July. And that happened in May. So, just thinking about that kind of balance of, yes, we want what's going out there to represent our brand well and be professional, but we understand that someone is not going to disavow and say your brand's illegitimate because you had the right next to each other in a blog post that went out, or because you might have used the wrong synonym to describe something, or, didn't have the owner's eye over it perfectly right before it went out. Everything can, as we know from the past 4 or 5 years, mistakes get made online. So it's not the end of the world if a misspelling goes out in your post, but, do make sure that you are churning content out consistently. So that balance of perfectionism and still being relevant.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask if anyone had when I was talking with Jamie about this topic and thinking about the social media do's and don'ts, one of the big don'ts, and this may be more specific to me since I do run multiple social media accounts, but I remember this early in my career, one of my big don'ts was like, don't be logged into 2 accounts at the same time. Because I made the mistake, this is before my career even started, back when I was at Mizzou and I was a student, I was running a club on Mizzou's campus, Coal-Free Mizzou. It was a Sierra Club run campaign, and also had my own personal Twitter account. Well, one night, I think it was around this time of year, there were some, presidential debates going on, and I wanted to live tweet it and give my opinions. Well, I didn't do that from my account. I did that from the club's account, the Mizzou campus official club account, and realized that about 30 minutes after I started. So I went back and quickly deleted everything. But that stands out to me. That was in 2012. And I've made sure every time I now am posting on social media, I triple check which account I'm posting from. I make sure that I'm in like a specific tab for whichever client I'm in. So has anyone else had any like social media scares or flubs that kind of make them a little nervous about having someone handle their accounts professionally, or makes them nervous about posting, like misspellings, any of those things? Is there any social media phobias or flubs that you've had out there that make you apprehensive to jumping on the train? Oh, Zoe, I think you're muted. There we go.
I'll just say from a timing standpoint, that's something I struggle with. The George Floyd issue is a good example. I tried to get the bars in Missouri work together pretty closely, Springfield, Kansas City, Missouri bar, and us. So I tried to get them like the day after to work together to make a comment that we all made, and they all declined at that point. So we would have had and made a statement, but I think sometimes making a statement, like you said, about something like that in July, it's better to not make a statement at all. I just think you have to think about the timing of particularly sensitive topics like that. So, share.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend not to. I mean, I have a strong view politically, but I tend not to post on any of that stuff because I find that half of my clients are on, in the opposite area, and so things like even like that shouldn't be political, like COVID. I don't post on that. I don't talk about Second Amendment because I work on firearms for patents a lot. It's amazing how much work you get out of that. I don't own any firearms, but that's my that's for me personally. I don't mind them, but I think a lot of those people might be on a different end of the political spectrum than I am.
And that's what's really important to know, and why you need to have the brand voice connected to whoever's, if they're not the person posting, connected closely with that marketing or social media person. Because I was actually surprised, one of our clients that wanted to make that statement, a lot of their base is in Southeast Missouri, where there largely hasn't been protest, or I think a lot of movement about Black Lives Matter. So they made the choice because they wanted to stand alongside their clients that that do stand by that, and made the choice to post it. And they figured people get mad about it, but they do. They didn't have any backlash. But I agree. I think that's definitely a firm leader decision. And I think a lot of firms, especially if your wheelhouse is not anywhere in the criminal defense area or related to that, you should kind of keep it topical to your practice area and the lighter topics that your clients can kind of agree on or converse on.
Yeah, I would jump in and echo what David had said. Is there are issues, if you will, that 6 months ago, a year ago, wouldn't have been an issue. You can post something that you think objectively is pretty innocuous, and somebody chooses to, to make it political, if you will. We don't have, to answer the question before I didn't chime in, we have a Facebook page at the firm, and it's not my department. Somebody else has wanted to take ownership of it, so there's not much there. And there's some Google presence, again, not my area. I do have a personal LinkedIn page, which I, which I keep up and maintain. But, I've had that same thing go through my head recently on some of the things that I've, posted or liked is, appears pretty innocuous, but you do have to, it seems like now you do have to pay a little attention. Some people appear to be a whole heck of a lot more sensitive, or maybe it's that they have more time on their hands. I don't know. And there's also obviously the stress issue, everything that, the number of things that are going on in, our country right now, are the effects they're having on people. Other than that, I can't offer much, but I would agree with, I think, that observation.
I think it's interesting. The one guy, immigration lawyer, Jim Hacking, does a fantastic job with social media, I think. But, and Trump's been a great foil for him. But, he posted, he's typically anti-administration in the last few years because immigration has been a hot topic, and everybody seems to want to, limit it. So he's in a particularly difficult situation.
Yeah. Well, Jamie, do you mind if I share my screen with my quick do's and don'ts? Let's see. So I just have some quick tips, and I think we might have gone over some of these things in the last time we had a marketing discussion, but this is something I can share, and I'll definitely add to it as I hear some things in this meeting. So I'll go over the do's first, but one thing a lot of people ask when we start posting for them, we'll post on, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We'll do Twitter too if people are on there. I'll get back to Twitter in a second though, but do cross post across social media platforms. So if you have the same message going out on all of them, it does do better because, each platform has a different audience. It could be the same people that follow you in 3 different platforms, but I think the number is it takes them up to 7 times seeing a message for a potential client to convert. So that applies to if they're getting email messages, if they're seeing your ads, other things. So I know a lot of people sometimes think it's overkill that they're just going to be flooding everyone. But when you think about, how long do you scroll on each platform? Are you really going to see everyone's thing? So that's why I always recommend to cross post when you can. And then for those attorneys that have personal LinkedIn pages, you could probably do your firm a favor and reshare some of their posts that you think are relevant to your audience. That's actually where LinkedIn gets the most reach. It's not when I post to LBO's LinkedIn page, it's when Jamie reshares a post from our LinkedIn page and makes her own comments on it as the owner of our firm. This is something else that I think a lot of people, it's again, a lot of people get a little weird about getting personal on a professional level on social media, but the more personal your post, the more engaging. So it doesn't need to be a photo of you and your family, especially if you work in criminal defense or an area where you don't want people to you kind of want to be anonymous. You want to be their attorney, but you don't want them to know where your kids go to school or where you live. It can be about work anniversaries for people in your office or employees' birthdays that you're recognizing, but anything that has a photo of the people that you work with, those are going to get so much more engagement than your posts sharing, Happy Labor Day or, I'm trying to think of what else, like a motivational Monday quote or whatever you might be posting. And I'll share some examples in a bit of personal professional posts that have a lot of impact. The other thing I kind of touched on earlier, the person doing your social media should either be in charge of your brand or know something about marketing and social media. So either the CEO and kind of firm leader should have a guiding hand in that. And then also a counterpart to that would be someone that actually understands social media, not just the person that has the most time or that you think is kind of the Jack or Jill of all trades. Because a lot of times that's what it gets wrote down to in the firm. And then there's not a lot of consistency you'll see. Post what you know. This is another thing. So if you don't understand how to use hashtags or to tag a business partner, it's better to not attempt it at all than to have done it incorrectly. And I'm going to be a real millennial here and make a okay boomer mistake on social media. Just post what you know and post organically. If you are not the person that knows all the hashtags and how to tag people, don't worry about that. If you are writing like content from the heart or whatever, that will actually get you more reach and engagement than optimizing a post. However, I will say this, posts that have links, photos, or videos attached with them they always get more reach and more engagement from folks. So if you are posting, a meaningful blog, David, I think it was David that said that, maybe include a picture along with what your long post is, and that might get more reach. And the last thing is just write from the heart. While most blog posts, you'll hear this a lot if you've worked with anyone writing blog posts for your website. It needs to be SEO optimized, and we need to have this keyword. We're trying to rank for this keyword, personal injury lawyer St. Louis or mediators in Illinois. That does do a lot for your website. However, we've always had a kind of a 50-50 mindset with it, where we try to write one blog for SEO content a month and one that is just from the heart and actually meaningful to your audience. And it's not, we don't even try to keyword optimize it. We just want to put out good, relevant content, like a letter from the firm owner or, what have you. And those get the most shares and get the engagement they do because it's your friends and families and people that message resonates with that are sharing that. So it's organically bringing traffic back to your website. The don'ts, this is a big one. Don't use platforms you can't keep up with or that aren't compatible with your brand's goals. So for example, Twitter, a lot of people think they should be on there because that's where a lot of action is happening. Twitter is fast-paced and needs to be maintained daily or, at a semi-regular basis. So if your firm is only looking for a brand presence and to put out a post, every couple times a week, Twitter is probably not your platform. However, if you do have people at your firm that speak a lot at conferences or that are, out at live events quite a bit, Twitter might make sense because live tweeting at conferences is the new thing. You'll see a conference hashtag when you go to any, solo and small firm or whatever it may be. And if your firm leader is there speaking on a topic, a lot of people will look to, tweet at them or make comments on the speech. So that is the one caveat I do say. Twitter is great if you're regularly at speaking engagements, regularly at conferences and can do like kind of a live tweet along with those things. But, I don't think everyone should be on Twitter. I don't think everyone should, maybe Instagram doesn't even make sense, but it is more places to put your brand, and you just got to think about where your audience is at. This kind of goes hand in hand with who should be in charge of it. Don't make the person with the most time available the person in charge of your social media. It needs to be under someone that either understands your brand or understands social media itself. Don't obsess about perfection before pushing content out. It's best to have original, organic, and perfect content than nothing at all.
I wanted to say something a little bit edgy real quick on the don't make the person with the most time available. I know I can say this because you all love me and we're friends and I love you too. Nothing drives me more crazy than when I see your firms posting something on Facebook and not tagging the people, or LinkedIn and not tagging the people that you're recognizing. It literally drives me crazy. And that's because usually people are running that social media that don't even know that they should be tagging. So you're losing all the traction you could be gaining. So for example, let's say, Jamie speaks at an event and a couple lawyers are there from a firm that are on a panel, right? And we want to show a picture of Jamie speaking in this panel of these lawyers. You should be tagging me, tagging Legal Back Office, tagging these lawyers on the panel, And what's doing is it's giving those lawyers traction and activity and engagement associated with what they're doing. It's going to help their algorithms that are making that post then show up in people's feeds. The more, it's not about quantity of tagging, right? It's about doing a quality job, but especially like if you're recognizing lawyers that have won an award, you know, or employees that have won an award, like tag those people. And when we see posts go out without people being tagged, we're like, oh, like you lost all the power and the oomph that you could have had in that tagging. Think of the tagging, it's like exponentially growing your network, right? So if you've got one person, your organization posting something, that's fine. But now if you're linking to another person and then another organization and another person, with every person you're linking to, you're gaining the traction of those organizations as well in that engagement. Oh God. Oh,
well, just an example, you know,
yeah.
But no, I agree. So I did say, you know, don't tag if you don't know how to, just because I will sometimes see people do at so-and-so and then it just doesn't successfully tag. If you don't know how to do it, don't do it. But you do need someone on your team who knows how to do it. Optimizing by tagging is one of the best things you can do. Like, for example, you know, when we're posting our, oh, I guess they didn't have a social media, so I couldn't post to them. I'm trying to find one, like Kim, for example. We tagged Kim when we posted her episode. We, you know, use relevant hashtags as well. But anytime that we're doing like, okay, this ALA business breakfast, we made sure to tag ALA Gateway. Trying to think of another one. But, you know, let me get on I'll look at our LinkedIn in a second. But it always increases the amount of views you're going to get when you tag other people. Here's an example I'm going to pull up. This is one from Kim. I don't know, Kim, if you knew that one of your favorite authors responded to one of your Instagram posts. Actually, I don't know if this is sharing correctly. Stop share.
Jane Austen is dead, so I'm pretty sure it wasn't her.
No, it wasn't. Okay. So here's the post in question with Kim.
Yeah.
We posted. She had top 5 recommended books. I think it was, National Book Lovers Day. So it was relevant to social media. And she gave us top 5 books. So I went through and I tagged the authors, the ones that were living or that had someone curating a social media account for them. And there was only 2. And then we got a comment back from Wally Lamb.
Oh my God. He's such a hero of mine.
Yeah. So we can curate a response back to him. Let me,
that's so awesome.
so here's the post insights. Kim at this point had only had, I think, maybe 50 followers on her account. Mm-hmm. She got 140 accounts that were reached. 87% of them weren't following her. And that's because from the hashtags from home, profile, and others. So those would be from tagging the authors, tagging the other businesses. So that's a whole new audience that Kim's reaching that wasn't already engaged with her. Again, whether or not people that follow these authors could be people that she uses, but you don't know. A lot of those can be attorneys. Kim can practice everywhere. So that was just an example of like a well-tagged post that garnered a lot more engagement. I think most of your posts, you maybe get 40, 50 people that view it. Well, that one was 150. That was 100 more people that saw it. Just because we went through the effort of looking up the authors' accounts, tagging them, and making sure that it was relevant. Hold on. I think I was on my last part of my don'ts, and then I'm going to show some of our posts as examples. This is my personal pet peeve. Hashtags. Do not use them on Facebook. I know that they do like link up and look like something, but they are not usable on Facebook like they are in different platforms. Like on LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram, you can follow a hashtag. So I follow hashtag lawyers of Instagram. I also follow hashtag Mo Law or Mo Ledge. That's Missouri legislature. Anytime there's like an update on that. I know on LinkedIn, you can follow a lot of different topics like, conflict resolution or ADR or personal injury. And then you can get alerts whenever there's a trending post in there. Use hashtags if you understand them on any platform but Facebook. And that's just one that I see. I see it as a common mistake when people are cross-posting. I see it on a lot of firms. This is another key one. Do not let one person control everything. You don't need to have a keeper to the keys. There will be a day where you need to post something and you don't have access to it, or someone else needs to post something and you're the only one with access to it. You don't want yourself or that other person to be the blocking point from something going out. So just make sure that you have a, kind of a password management system, that someone else knows how to access these accounts and post in case, there's an emergency that comes up or someone isn't available. And then this is one that kind of harpens back to Jamie's presentation, if any of you saw it, but don't delete negative comments. Caveat there for trolls, but respond to them meaningfully to show that your brand is willing to engage. If someone's posting a negative comment, a negative review, or whatever, obviously if someone is just looking to have a pissing match and kind of argue with you in the comment section, it's not worth it to engage after that first kind of general response. But I think it speaks a lot higher for brands that are willing to leave both the negative and positive comments on there than just hide everything. I know that some people, you are able to turn off comments on certain posts if that's something that you'd like to do, so you don't have to worry about curating comments. But that's just something that I've believed early on. I used to have a boss that he said, I just want to delete anyone that disagrees with us, worked for an environmental nonprofit, just delete anyone that disagrees with us. I was like, well, they're going to come back and say, this person is silencing me. They don't care to engage XYZ. And we had to write a whole policy about that. Let me see if I can I just wanted to show a couple of examples of posts that Legal Back Office has done, and then what Jamie has done to kind of personalize said post. Let's see if I can get this share going.
And we'll make a note too to post the presentation I did for Mobar yesterday on negative online reviews and how to handle them under the resources for this as well, because I think that would be good for everyone to take a look at.
Yeah, I know we have a blog for that. I can link to as well. So here's our 2-year anniversary post. You can't, in the see more, I think it says, but you see that this is on LinkedIn. So I tagged Jamie's account on LinkedIn as the CEO. I tagged our co-founder, Sarah Stock, and then her firm's account as well. I wish I could actually click the see more. I took the screenshot, but you'll see that we got over 2,500 views. I think we used a certain number of hashtags as well, and we got over 51 reactions. So that's when our personal account shared it, and it was optimized with the correct tagging of people, using the hashtags. And now, but here's an example of how, I don't know if this was before or after, but Jamie then shared her own personal anniversary post. She went back and tagged Legal Back Office, tagged Sarah, but kind of made it more personal. It was them celebrating. It was, a little photo collage. And a lot more of this post was about her journey just as a business owner, not so much like rah Legal Back Office, but like, wow, it's been 2 years. I cannot believe I've formed this. I've met so many great women. I have great partners, just more about being a business owner. And this one got almost 8,000 views. We, of course, then we always do the thing. If someone tags us, we'll reshare it on our page as well. But the two different sides of kind of how to optimize, how to make it personal, and then also have that, layer of kind of the CEO speaking and the brand speaking a little bit more formally.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Sarah, because I think it's showing that, being active on social media shouldn't be just a check the box experience, that there really is, there are some great things that can come out of how you are engaging. And I hear all the time, well, we get our clients through referrals. We're not going to get a client through Facebook. And my response to that is always, yeah, but you are an employer and your employees, current and future, are all on these platforms. And if you want to be known in your community and your brand, that you need to be engaging on these platforms and having a voice. But it's not just for the sake of checking the box because some marketing person told you need to. There really is strategy that goes into this, and you also can get great results. I love the story about how we literally got a client because Sarah turned a picture of me speaking into a meme about strategic planning, and the client didn't even know that we did that. And they weren't even a client yet. And it was them seeing the Jameme. They make Jamemes now, which is like hilarious. That's just funny. Jameme got us a client, but that wasn't a formal content piece saying Legal Back Office does strategic planning and you should partner with us because we're awesome. It was just a funny, fun way to engage. And I'd already been talking to this potential client about other services that didn't go through. So the timing was they happened to see something that was lined up at the time that they needed something. And that thing was a funny meme of me making a funny face, so I just thought it'd be cool to kind of talk through social media today. I hope you guys have gotten something out of it. I think it's cool, those of you that are engaging right now, and there's definitely lots of opportunities. So we'll put all the resources out. And obviously, if you guys ever have questions for us, we're always happy to help out or give you some advice or, however we can be of assistance. So
does anyone have any questions? I realize I sometimes speak in social media lingo, and I think that everyone's on the same page, but does anyone have any questions about things that we discussed or how to tag things, what some of the terms meant, any of that? Because I can include it later in an email too, but
all right, well, cool. It's 11 o'clock, so let's go ahead and wrap up. Thank you all again so much for hopping on, for your time. Hope you got something out of it. And next week is intake, right? Intake
in 2 weeks, yeah, or next time we meet. But yes,
2 weeks.
Intake process wins.
We want to hear from everyone. What breaks down in your intake process? What do you think you're doing really well in the intake process? What tools are you using? What software are you using? And let's kind of have that conversation. So intake is incredibly important, obviously, to the lifeblood of our companies. So,
and one thing I'm curious about, if people want to ponder on this, where do your leads live? Also, so those that you intake but don't take on the cases, what happens to those in that process? But yeah, I'm interested to hear what platforms everyone is using to manage that, because we're getting familiar with so many this past year.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thank you all so much. Have a great day.